Alrighty guys, so I've had a few questions about my external head unit setup. Ignore those RCAs, they're from a thing that I haven't gotten rid of yet. But they go to nothing. Ignore those for the purposes of this video. And also ignore all the crap in my seat. I'm about to clean it out. It's been a while since I cleaned it. But I've had some questions as to how I rent it, how it works, you know, so on and so forth. So I'm gonna learn you something today, and we're gonna go into it. So first off, go around to this other side here. It's on a 10-foot run. Or thereabouts, a little longer. And all of the wires are in this wire loom here, the split loom that comes up to the front. We have one RCA going out to the equalizer over there, and then we have 3 wires coming in, which are all taped up. We have a red, a black, and a blue, which is really all you need. All you need is these 3 wires. You've got a constant power feed in, you have a ground, and you have your remote out. And what I have done is underneath here there are some connectors, and I've split the constant feed in out to a red and a yellow like you would have coming out of the back of your head unit there. And the yellow goes to the constant power, of course, and then the red goes to this toggle switch here, which when you turn the switch on, head unit comes on, as do all the amps. So we've got that, and then that runs around the loom runs around the RCAs that go into the equalizer spider off somewhere under the center console. That's not too terribly important at this time. And also ignore the crap back here. I haven't cleaned this either. But here's where the lead comes out, and it's sort of curled up underneath here because I usually have it sitting in my passenger seat, so I don't need the entire length. And it comes up underneath here through all of this rat's nest, which is my mids and highs amps, and up to this barrier strip here, which you can see is kind of wired up backwards because this is actually the input side, because I had it flipped sideways and then moved it and just didn't bother to swap the connections around. And here's all the wires, all 3 wires that go into the wire loom, and where they come out. And you see we've got our ground here, our main power here, and our remote here. Now this remote wire here directly controls well, basically nothing. What it controls is it sends power back here. I don't have this trim panel off, so I can't really show you the relays, but there's 2 relays back in here underneath this amp rack that turn on all the amps, and these are the switches that control that. Basically, when you turn the head unit on, the relay, there's one relay that gets energized, and that turns the sub amps on and sends power to these switches. Or no, it does. Excuse me. It sends power to another relay, which then goes up to these switches. And these switches control all the mids and highs amps. We've got one main turn-off switch. If I turn this switch off, none of these switches receive power, so we'll leave that on. And then each of these corresponds to a mids and highs amp, and they are 100% backwards. This switch turns on this amp here. This switch turns on the little Crunch 2 channel there. And this switch controls the 2 Precision Power 900.4s. Alright, had a slight interruption there. But then that turns on these 2 amps here, which control all of the mids up front, the doors and the A-pillars. This amp controls, or powers, these 5 1/4s up top and the tweeters up top. And this amp does these 5 1/4s and tweeters, when I have them connected anyway. And these 2 6.5s, 2 AQ 6.5s. There's one on that side too, but I doubt you can see it. There it is. But yeah, anyways, back to the external head unit. That's really about it. Now if you don't run an equalizer, there'll be more RCAs coming out of there, but that's the basic gist of it here. And this power and ground here basically just runs back to my back batteries underneath the amp rack back here, because all of my batteries are just right underneath this amp rack. So I just run power straight back to the batteries and just power it from there, so that the system is controlled completely separate from the vehicle. You can use it even without the key on. So that's about it. See you guys later.